Hello, everybody having a good time? Always love Hemp Fest. Anyways, my name's Craig, and before I get started, I want to take a minute and see a picture of a good friend of mine, Jack, here. And I want to honor all of the activists out there. Several of them have passed. Some of us are getting kind of old. Jack, Dennis Perone, and other people. So I just want to put that out there for everybody to keep that in mind and get out there. I wanted to talk a little bit about legalizing and your rights and the benefits of that. And I'm not going to tell you that, legalizing is going to help patients, it's going to help people. I'm not going to tell you all that. I want to actually talk about what the cops do in this state and in other states that aren't legal, and how legalizing weed is going to help us on that aspect. Little story that happened to me the other day. My wife and I were in the park, and I was walking my dog, and the cops decided to pull up next to my wife who's sitting in the car, and the first words that came out of their mouth is, "I smell weed. I want to search your car." I made the mistake of telling him he's a fucking liar. Next thing I know, I had 6 squad cars around me. But the fact being that they use this against us. And in states like California, with the now legal, they've been able to stop that from happening, so they can't go after our rights by saying they smell weed. In fact, they're not even allowed to search a car if they smell it. They have to have something else. So that's one big benefit of being able to legalize it, because we won't have that problem. They're going to have to find something else to do. Some of the other benefits that we've got out here is, people. It's about people. It's about what we want to do. It's our body. It's our rights to smoke. It's a plant. Nothing more, nothing less. Except it's a healing plant. And it does take care of you, if you take care of it. How do we legalize it? Well, sitting down doing nothing doesn't get us anywhere. We need to all be active. We need to get out there. We need to do signatures. This state needs a good signature gathering effort to get it on the ballot. Once it's on the ballot, we can start to get there. The funny part is I've been all over in the state. I've talked to everybody around, and very few people have told me they don't want to see it and they don't like it. I did have one of the mayors, an Eagle, tell me, and I almost laughed all the way out, if you get it here, it's going to create homelessness. I'm like, what? How uneducated the government is in this state. So people like us need to get out there in front of our congressmen, our mayors, our city, and talk to them about cannabis, how it can help us. Why do we want it legal? We need to turn these people's minds. That's the biggie. We need to turn their minds so that they know that we the people want this. Y'all want it, don't you?
Yeah!
Let me hear it again. Say, legalize it. That's what we want. Signature gathering, that's a biggie. That's a real biggie. That's how we get it on the ballot here. We need to come together as people. We need to get together and we need to start a signature gathering crew. It's been tried. We didn't get it the first time. That's okay. We'll get it the next time. If everybody's willing to come together and do that, we can get there. Boise Hemp Fest booth. If you're into helping, stop by there and talk to them. It's nice to see all these people. We got Treasure Valley, we got Zion, we got Oregon's First, Hotbox Farms out here supporting us. So what that tells me is people in other states are willing to support us. That's important. It makes you feel alone, or not alone. Sometimes going out there and doing this is scary. I know in my day, it was early. I've been doing this for about 20 years. When we started in California, my wife could tell you little stories about we'd go out there and we'd push it. We'd wake up in the morning and guess who was sitting outside our balcony? We lived on the ground floor. We had a little private patio. There'd be a few cops out there trying to intimidate us back in the day. So what would Debbie do? she would go out and make them coffee. Let them know we're not intimidated, we're going to continue. And we did. And there were scary times, and there were not scary times. But we persuaded, and we kept going, and we persevered, and look where it's at now. California is legal. Same events when we worked with the people in Colorado, when we made Colorado legal, and Massachusetts and several other states that I've worked with. It takes people to do it, though. That's the important thing. It takes everybody to get together to make this happen. I tend to think myself that the easiest way to get it in is to start as a medical marijuana. That's the easiest way. In this state, I think with the churches and everything, we go out and say, hey, we need to help the patients and the people. I think that's a good way to get them to help us. And we start talking the benefits to them. I hear from people, you'll never get it past a Mormon church. I'm totally the opposite. I think we can. I think it's just educating them. And that's really it, is events like this educate people. People like you, all of you guys educate people and talk. That'll get you there. Yep, legalization. Can you imagine Idaho being legal? I can. I can see all the benefits. I can see great times. I could see maybe sitting in a park one day, lighting up and smoking with a cop over there and not worrying about him coming over and arresting me. Some of my favorite pictures that I have from California are me sitting in front of a squad car with a bong in my hand. Lighting it up. You got people like Sierra Frank, who's been out here for years trying to fight it. #1 activist here. She's also organized this. Thank you, Sierra. We appreciate that.
Woohoo! We've
got all the volunteers and other speakers here. They're going to be here to tell you different things you can do, that we can do. Because the word is we the people. You know, my t-shirt here, Uncle Sam wants you to smoke. You just got to get him to let us.
Okay.
Vika, another speaker here. Vika, what do you think is the most important thing about legalizing?
Coming together.
Coming together. And every activist out there is going to tell you that. We can't do it alone. There's no way we can do it alone. We need each and every one of you to come together. I like those words, come together. I wish we had the Beatles song here. And we can do it. We can do it, and it can be done. Idaho's got their feet in the ground. They're the only state in the United States that has actually made it a constitutional, put it on the Constitution, saying that they don't want it. So the way I think we legalize Idaho is we make it a constitutional right. We don't just make it a law, we change the state constitution to allow marijuana in this state. Let me hear it. Again, I want to keep you all a little excited. What do we want in this state?
Legalize.
We want freedom. We want our rights upheld. We want the right to smoke and not be bothered. We want our Second Amendment rights, my Fourth Amendment rights held up, all of them actually, held up. We don't want to be stopped by cops to say, hey, we smell marijuana and they're going to go search us and who knows what. So it's important that we do this and we stand together. I'm going to be speaking later and go a little bit more in depth because I think there's some other speakers coming up. I don't know how long I have, probably another minute or two. So if I could get you all just to take a minute of silence, not just for the activists here, but for all the people fighting for our freedoms and their freedoms. I also want to mention Ukraine. I'm a staunch supporter of Ukraine. I think that's important, that we all take a minute to think about that. So it's not just the rights of marijuana, it's the rights of everything. It's the right to live and the rights to be free. Freedom, isn't that what it's all about? It's about freedom, our rights to be free, to do what we please without hurting other people. I want to thank y'all for coming. I want to thank y'all for supporting, and those people that aren't on the fence line, I'm glad you came out here to get educated. And again, I want to thank Sierra and all the volunteers and everybody else who's put this together and made this happen. Because this is how we get things changed in our state. Thank you.
Woo.
I am. Thank you. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you, vendors, for coming out. There is some